Всем привет, с вами Отец Эд. Сегодня посмотрим два видоса. Первое видео будет с канала r1i Productions. И это у нас, так скажем, связано с сериалом Тоби мультивселенная хаоса. Я думаю, вы помните этот сериал, его еще Лего Шуэм озвучивал у себя на канале. Так вот, r1i Productions объявил, что он отменяет данный сериал. Да. Больше он над ним работать не будет, но он выложил такое видео короткое, где он показал кадры, которые должны были быть во втором эпизоде как раз-таки. И вот тут первый кадр, стоит Дуглас и Брэкстон. Брэкстон начал дымиться. Почему, не знаю. Так, вроде прекратилось. А, гореть еще начал. Замечательно. Ой, господи, глаза сейчас вывалятся, походу. В натуре глаза вывалились. Так, мост. Нихера, мост подорвали. Так, и чё, типа... Это прям как из серии Томаса «Новый поезд». Может, поэтому мост рухнул в той серии? Так, Эдвард. Так, он где стоит? Непонятно, правда. Что-то тут темно все. Так, это вроде как один из братьев Боко. Это он в Смелтере. Так, вместе с Эдвардом, скорее всего. Так. Вот тут уже что-то пошло. Возможно, Эдвард в этой серии тоже должен был умереть. Наверное. Вот этот кадр, кстати, в трейлере был. Да-да. Так, ага, он уезжает оттуда. Видимо, с Эдвардом разделался и уехал. Какой-то мужик. Так. Нифига тут мужики. Так, это спамкан. Так, Невилл. О, господи, что с ним? Так, пока непонятно. О, лес, спокойствие. Ух ты, это Эмили из сериала Содер Мист? А это какая-то более стрёмная версия Джеймса Содера Fallout. Этот фрагмент тоже в трейлере был. А это что за срань? Томас из проекта G1? Ни хрена себе. А это чё? Это Fireface из Содера Fallout? Господи, ёперный театр. Ну вот так вот получилось. Хорошо, идемте дальше. Ну и напоследок глянем кое-что. Сегодня так уж получилось, один чувак слил последний финальный эпизод 6-го сезона, который называется Adjustment, то есть корректирование, вроде как-то так переводится. Ну что ж, посмотрим. Это финал 6-го сезона.
Now realize I didn't properly explain why they launched an inquiry into the island's police force. It wasn't so much because of Constable Rollins' actions, but his words. In a desperate bid to save his own skin, he began to rat on his colleagues. He exposed a number of misdeeds committed by his peers. When these coppers were confronted, many of them gave up their own list of names. So the inquiry was convened to sort it all out. Just about every lawman on Sodor was placed under scrutiny. One of the officers caught up in the scandal was from the Railway Inspector's Unit. It seems he had an arrangement with a local prostitute, and I'm sorry to say that after he was pinched, he pointed the finger at Joey. What exactly is he saying? Constable Murphy claims you knew about his relationship and...
Вот тут что-то, возможно, будет связано с тем, что, Помните же вот эту теорию о том, что Джоуи станет новым Томасом? Так вот, возможно, в этом эпизоде эта теория и подтвердится.
And a blind eye to it. He's lying. I had no idea he was into that sort of thing. Are you aware he has 2 complaints at his spa from other hookers? Yes, but they were from before he joined this unit. Did you ever ask him about them? He said they were false accusations. Since they were dismissed for lack of evidence, I believed him. Well, there's plenty of evidence against him now. He'll likely be kicked off the force. Good. I don't condone that sort of behavior, and I certainly wouldn't cover it up. Still, I have to look into this. Pending resolution of this matter, and in accordance with the guidelines laid out by the inquiry, you are suspended from service. I'm sorry, Joey. It's all right, Lenny. I
Ленни отстранил Джоуи?
understand. I'm glad you're the one who's investigating. I hope you realize I won't be doing you any favors. If I find out you're crooked, I'll drag you to Railgate by your funnel. Then I have nothing to worry about. How can you not be worried? It sounds like he's made up his mind. On the contrary, he's keeping an open mind. He once told me a good investigator never assumes. I think it's ridiculous they're taking such a hard line. Whatever happened to innocent until proven guilty? Given the situation, they can't afford to give us the benefit of the doubt. Nearly a dozen officers have already been arrested. 3 of them are facing prison time. I hope Rollins is one of them. He is, but he's been given a reduced sentence in exchange for the service he's providing. They show leniency to a wife beater, but not a dedicated officer like you. If the wife beater has important information, absolutely. That's how the system works. And it's complete horse shit. Is there anything we can do? Yes, actually. I'm not going to sit around waiting to be cleared. I asked Mr. Watson if there were any jobs I could do around Sodor, and he mentioned your branch line has been very busy lately. So here I am.
Блин, теория подтверждается, походу.
That's great. We could use the help. If memory serves, you used to work on a branch line before becoming a copper. Yes, but that was a very long time ago, so I'm bound to be rusty. Any guidance you chaps can provide would be appreciated. Well, we learn through experience, and I'm taking a rail tour in 15 minutes. How about we double-head it? Brilliant. Thank you, Toby. How am I doing? Splendidly. Don't you agree, Annie? Oh, yes, Clarabelle. That was a very smooth ride. Indeed, you're the most polished rusty engine I've ever seen. It's all coming back to me. I forgot how much I enjoyed doing this kind of work. This is just like being on a holiday. Well, you know what they say. A change is as good as a...
Чё это за гонщик нелегальный?
There he goes again. Who? His name's Elliot. He works up at the quarry. Does he speed often? Often enough that I can count on one buffer the amount of times he hasn't. It's a miracle he hasn't killed himself or anyone else. Have you informed the local authorities? Yes, but it hasn't made any difference. Maybe I should have a word with them. Suspended or not, I'm still an officer of the law.
Интересно.
What have you got to say for yourself, Constable Clark? I've given him several warnings, but no actual fines. Why? Because he's such a nice chap, or because the price is right? I know you appeared before the inquiry for taking bribes. The inquiry proved those allegations were false. The only money I've ever taken is my pitiful salary, but thanks to you, I now have a blot on my record. All I did was expose a crooked copper. He's the one who sold out the department, and I heard one of your people sold you out. What goes around comes around. Don't pop the champagne, Clarky. Like you, I'm innocent, and I'll be reinstated shortly. Best of luck if that happens. You're going to need it. What do you mean by that? He means I'm not very popular amongst my fellow officers. Many of them blame me for the inquiry. Why? Like you said, Rollins was the one who turned grass, but I arrested him. I let the cat out of the bag, so to speak. Would they have preferred you did nothing? No, but I'm sure they'll be reluctant to work alongside someone they consider a rat. Would you want to be around Whiff if you thought he'd report you for the smallest infraction? Probably not. No offense, Whiff. None taken. What are you going to do? The question is, what will my superiors do? They probably see me as a troublemaker now, and troublesome cops don't make it very... What's wrong?
Так.
Inspector Fairbanks? Mr. Dobson? Elliot Dobson, I don't believe it. And I didn't want to believe that was you yesterday. I hoped I was hallucinating. Explains why Clarky gave me a fine. Was that a consolation prize? I had no idea that was you. I saw someone commit a crime and acted accordingly. Is that why you never found Helen? Because you had dodgy eyesight? We followed the evidence. in the wrong direction. That could have been avoided if you had just given us an alibi. It's not our fault you refused to cooperate. I had a very good reason not to, which was nothing. Just leave me alone. How do you know him? From a case Lenny and I worked on the mainland. 5 years ago, a British rail ticket clerk named Helen Dobson disappeared. Her car was found at a local park and there was blood on the ground. Her husband was the primary suspect. According to her friends, she thought he was having an affair. Was he? Not that we could prove, and he denied it. He also proclaimed his innocence, but refused to give us an alibi. We wanted to hold him, but couldn't. There were no witnesses to the crime and no body, so we released him. The case went cold after that. I later heard he was run out of town because everyone thought he had killed his wife. Well, he's picked up a new one since. Are you saying he got remarried? Apparently. Her name's Agatha. Agatha? You know her too? One of Mrs. Dobson's friends was named Agatha Crawford. Bust my buffers! With friends like that, indeed. I think I need to have a word with the new Mrs. Dobson. Good morning, Mrs. Dobson. Hello, Inspector. It's been a while. Yes, it has. Do you mind if I ask you some questions? Are you even allowed to do that? I heard you got suspended. What happened? You fingered one too many innocent blokes? Relax, Elliot. We have nothing to hide. Go ahead. How did you two end up together? We've known each other since high school. I introduced him to Helen. I never believed he killed her and stuck by him after she disappeared. We got close and the rest is history. Was there anything romantic between you two prior to that? No. How many times do I have to say it? I didn't cheat on Helen. We found her journal, Mr. Dobson. She made notes every time you left the house. The pattern suggests you were up to something. It wasn't infidelity. Agatha, Elliot, tell him. Gambling, all right. I had a gambling problem back then. I'd sneak out and go to a bookies. There weren't any bookies in that town. This was more of a back alley kind of place. That's where I was when Helen disappeared. Is it still there? I have no idea. You're not going to check, are you? The bloke who ran it was a very hard man. If he can confirm your alibi, it would eliminate you as a suspect. Don't you want that? I guess. But I'm blaming you if I end up with 2 broken legs. Duly noted. Mrs. Dobson, can you account for your whereabouts that day? I was at home sick with the flu. Did anybody see you? No, I lived alone. What sort of car did you drive back then? I didn't own a car. I used to take the bus or ride my bicycle. I see. I think that's all for now. Thank you for your cooperation. I'll be in touch. Interesting. You're not mad? Why would I be? Because I shouldn't have been asking questions. Lucky for you, time is on your side. As of 0800 hours this morning, you've been reinstated. Really? That was fast. There wasn't much to investigate after Constable Murphy admitted he lied. He thought he could save his career by offering up someone higher on the food chain. And did he think evidence was going to magically fall out of the sky? Well, it's like I told you when we first caught this case. Some men think with the wrong head. But if Mr. Dobson's alibi pans out, then we were clearly wrong about him. What do you think about his new wife? I'm not sure. Their relationship feels very strange. Do you think there was anything between them? No, I don't. I also don't believe their friendship is solely the reason she supported him. I think she knows for a fact he didn't murder his wife. But why would she? If they weren't having an affair, what's her motive? Even if she did, how do we prove it? We still don't have a body. I might have an idea, but it's risky.
Так.
Oh, come on, when's this going to stop? Right now. We located the bookie's owner. He confirmed your alibi. He's currently doing time, so you needn't worry about reprisal. He also said no hard feelings and many happy returns to the both of you. Why didn't you mention you also gambled there, Mrs. Dobson? I'm sorry, I guess I forgot. You must have also forgotten about your neighbor. My neighbor? The one whose car you borrowed the day Helen disappeared? He said you didn't bring it back until late in the evening. No matter. We already asked the first Mrs. Dobson about that. What? She's alive? And she's right over there. Helen? You sick
Что? Что это было?
bastards. What fucking game are you playing at? We're sorry, Mr. Dobson. We had to prove your second wife killed her. And how did you do that? You didn't look. Of course not. I know she's dead. How?
Опа-на. Ага, кажется, она убила его первую жену, вот этого мистера Добсона.
Agatha, you didn't kill her, did you? It was an accident. She called me earlier that day and asked me to meet her at the park. I borrowed my neighbor's car and drove over. As soon as I got there, she accused me of having an affair with Elliot. Someone saw us near the bookies and told her. I said it wasn't true, but she didn't believe me. We started fighting. I pushed her. She fell back and hit her head. What did you do with her body? I loaded it up in the boot and drove out of town. I stopped alongside a riverbank and threw her in. I'm sorry. I'm
Нихера себе.
so sorry. You're sorry, you bitch?
Ого. Ети же. Посади же. Чё за нахер? О, все, мужик, тебя упакуют. Джоуи, я все
You
понимаю.
arrested him? We had no choice. He killed his wife. At least you were able to solve your case. Too bad the inquiry didn't agree with our methods. They think we created the situation that led to Mr. Dobson's outburst. I'm sure his barrister will make good use of that. What's going to happen? Have you both been suspended? We were given that option, but since the odds were stacked against us, we would likely be sent to Railgate. Our superior said we could avoid that if we resigned. And you did?
О, получается и Джоуи, и Ленни все? Больше не копы?
Coppers don't do well inside. What a load of rubbish! I'm so sorry, lads. It's probably for the best. Like I told you in Whiff, I wouldn't have had an easy career going forward. And I was getting tired of the whole system. Still, I had hoped to end my career on a much higher note. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't think I'm old enough to retire to a heritage railway. Then it's a good thing I have a job offer for you. You do, sir? Yes, Derek said he could use some extra help. How would you like to join the Fire and Rescue Service? That would be wonderful, sir. Thank you. What about you, Joey? How would you like to be permanently assigned to the Farquhar branch? I would love it,
Так,
sir. And we'd love to have you here. Welcome aboard. I'm pleased to say both engines adjusted to their new lives splendidly. Lenny did an
ага, то есть Ленни теперь стал помощником Дерека, а Джоуи теперь, получается, на месте Томаса.
excellent job working alongside Derek, while Joey became quite popular
Охренеть.
on the Farquhar branch. A while later, he asked if he could be repaid his
Вот вам голубой Джоуи. Теория подтвердилась.
favorite color. There was some confusion about a blue engine working on the line that wasn't Thomas, but it was never a serious issue. Speaking of serious issues, Mr. Elliot Dobson was found not guilty of the death of his second wife. However, he had to move away again. Wherever he ended up, I hope he was able to find happiness. The inquiry concluded a few weeks later. Over 30 officers were given the boot or sent to prison. The island's police force would be better off now that its crooked cohort had been removed. Nonetheless, it was a very long time before it regained its credibility. Life went on afterwards with great changes on the horizon. The entire freight industry was undergoing a revolution, one that would greatly affect the railway. But those are stories for another day.
Ну что ж, вот так вот, получается, закончился 6-й сезон. Ну, неплохо получилось, должен сказать. Интересно было взглянуть на сериал без Томаса. Ну а на этом все. Подписывайтесь на канал, ставьте лайки и всем пока-пока.